The ship shuddered as it passed through the turbulent atmosphere of the desert planet. Captain Ryland tightened his grip on the controls, his eyes scanning the endless golden sands stretching beneath him. From space, the planet had looked quiet, almost peaceful. But as he descended, he could see the truth. Massive sandstorms whipped across the surface, erasing any sense of direction and hiding dangers beneath the shifting dunes. This was supposed to be a routine exploration mission, just another planet to survey for human colonization possibilities. But the small distress signal flickering on his navigation screen suggested this planet had secrets humans had never seen before. The signal was faint, almost lost in the background noise of the storm, but Ryland's trained eyes caught it. It was unusual. No automated distress beacons were known to exist on this planet, and the code accompanying the signal didn't match any known human or alien formats. Curiosity, mixed with caution, drove him to investigate. His ship, the Orion Pathfinder, was equipped with advanced shields and stabilizers, but even these struggled against the sandstorms. Each movement was a careful calculation, a test of patience and skill. As he maneuvered the ship, the signal grew stronger, leading him toward what appeared to be the remnants of a hidden structure beneath the sand. Ryland frowned. From the satellite images, nothing had been visible here. The sands shifted constantly, hiding and revealing mounds, ridges, and occasional ruins of structures long buried. But now something active was signaling for help. His heart beat faster, a mix of excitement and caution. Explorers were trained to remain calm, but there was always a thrill in discovering something entirely unknown. After hours of careful navigation, the source of the signal became clear. Buried partially under sand and jagged crystal formations, a dome-like structure shimmered faintly. Energy readings indicated it was still functioning, but barely. Sand had broken through its protective layers, and parts of it had collapsed inward. There was no doubt about it. Someone, or something, was trapped inside. Ryland activated the ship's landing thrusters, lowering the Orion Pathfinder with precision. The sandstorm roared, buffeting the hull, but the stabilizers kept them steady. He stepped out once the ship was secure, his boots sinking slightly into the warm sand. The storm reduced visibility to barely a few meters. Through the whipping wind and shifting sands, he could see the structure more clearly. A crystalline dome, fractured and glowing faintly with an inner light. It pulsed as though alive, or at least responding to something within. The distress signal had not lied. Inside, Ryland could detect life signs. 1, maybe 2. He activated his translator drone, sending a pulse to the dome. The response was instantaneous but garbled, a melodic series of sounds he couldn't understand. His heart leapt. Whoever or whatever was inside needed help. Ryland assessed the situation. The dome was partially collapsed. Some crystal shards were dangerously close to giving way entirely. He couldn't call for help. No one else was nearby. He was alone. This was a test of skill, courage, and resourcefulness. He set down his pack, pulling out tools and stabilizers. The shields on his gloves flickered as he connected a portable energy stabilizer to the largest crack. Sparks flew and the ground trembled under the storm, but the dome held for now. A soft light from inside caught his eye, a movement unlike any human form. He inched closer, keeping his eyes on the shifting sands as he crawled over shards and debris. Then he saw her, a figure, tall and slender, unlike any human he had seen. Her skin shimmered slightly, as if tiny particles moved beneath it, and her eyes, large and iridescent, focused on him with a mixture of fear and relief. "You... human?" she whispered, the translator drone converting her melodic tones into words. Her voice was musical, almost hypnotic. I'm here to help," Ryland said calmly, though his heart raced. "I saw your signal. Can you move?" She shook her head. fear and pain etched across her delicate features. One arm was trapped under a fallen crystal beam, and the structure groaned ominously. Rylan didn't hesitate. He activated his multi-tool, cutting through the sharp crystal carefully, mindful not to injure her further. Hours seemed to pass in minutes as he worked, shielding her from falling debris and stabilizing the structure. Finally, the beam shifted enough for her to pull her arm free. She stumbled slightly, but Rylan caught her. The storm seemed to fade in the distance, though it raged on outside. Her gaze met his, wide and filled with a silent gratitude that didn't need words. "Thank you," she breathed. I am Liara." Rylan smiled. "I'm Rylan. You're safe now, Liara, but we need to get out before this place collapses completely." She nodded, following him as he guided her toward the ship. Every step was a careful maneuver. The sandstorm threatened to engulf them, but Rylan's experience and instincts kept them moving steadily. Once inside the Orion Pathfinder, he activated the shields and airlock, giving them a moment of safety. Liara collapsed onto the floor briefly, catching her breath. "You saved me," she said, her voice still trembling. Why did you risk yourself for me?" Rylan shrugged, though the truth was simple. "I don't leave people behind. Doesn't matter if they're human or not." Her eyes glimmered, a mixture of awe and something he couldn't quite place. "You are unlike any human I have known. Brave, selfless, remarkable." They spent the next hours as the ship rose above the storm, drifting into calm skies. Communication was slow at first. Her language was complex, filled with meanings layered like music. But the translator did its work. Through broken phrases and gestures, they began to understand one another. Liara shared glimpses of her world, a civilization buried beneath the sands, advanced yet isolated, threatened by enemies from distant star systems. She spoke of crystal cities, energy shields, and a culture where honor and bravery were paramount. Rylan listened, fascinated. He had faced dangerous planets and hostile species before, but there was something different about Liara's world. Her people were not merely advanced, they were noble, bound by principles that reminded him of the best qualities of humanity. There was a beauty in their resilience, a strength that resonated deeply within him. Days passed as Rylan helped Liara recover. She adapted quickly to the human ship, learning to operate basic systems, though her eyes still held the memories of the collapse and her people's peril. During this time, a bond grew between them, not romantic, at least not yet, but one of trust and mutual respect. Rylan had saved her life, but in turn she challenged him, teaching him things no human explorer had ever known. Her perspective of the universe, her stories of courage and sacrifice, opened new paths in his mind. When the storm finally subsided and the ship's sensors indicated the desert planet was temporarily safe, Rylan faced a choice. He could leave Liara to return to her people alone, risking her being caught again by the dangers surrounding her civilization, or he could attempt to help her find her way back to safety. He chose the latter. As they descended toward the ruins of her city, Liara's people emerged cautiously from hidden tunnels. They had not seen an outsider in generations, and their initial fear turned to cautious curiosity as Rylan stepped forward, hands raised in peace. Liara explained in simple terms who he was and what he had done for her. The city's leaders observed him closely, measuring his intentions and the courage in his eyes. After tense moments, they allowed him to assist in the final recovery of the city's remaining energy nodes. Rylan's technical skills and human ingenuity amazed them. Machines that had been dormant for centuries hummed to life, powered by his quick thinking and innovation. He didn't just save Liara, he saved her civilization from imminent collapse. When the work was done, Liara turned to him, her eyes shining. "You've done more than I could ever have imagined," You are truly remarkable, human. I... I will never forget you. Ryland smiled, feeling a rare warmth in his chest. I don't expect you to. Just take care of your people. She nodded, but there was a seriousness in her gaze. We may meet again. I do not know when, but you have changed the fate of my world. Perhaps the stars themselves will bring us together once more. Ryland felt a shiver of anticipation. There was something in her tone, a promise, a hope, a connection that he could not ignore. He climbed back into his ship, taking off above the city, leaving Liara safe, but aware that their journey together was far from over. As the Orion Pathfinder rose above the desert sands, Ryland looked back at the city. The crystal structures glimmered in the light of the setting suns, a reminder of courage, survival, and the unexpected bonds that could form even between entirely different worlds. In his heart, he knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the vastness of space, Liara waited, and he would not forget her either. For the first time in his long career as an explorer, Ryland realized that bravery wasn't just about facing danger. It was about the choices made to protect those who could not protect themselves. And somewhere across the galaxy, an alien princess had chosen to remember him, the human who had risked everything to save her. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one a promise of new adventures, new discoveries, and perhaps a reunion that neither of them could yet imagine. Years passed after Captain Ryland had left the desert planet, but the memory of Liara and her people never faded. He returned to human space, completing missions, mapping stars, and cataloging planets, yet his thoughts often drifted back to that hidden city buried beneath the sands. He wondered how Liara and her people fared without him, and if they had fully recovered from the dangers that had threatened them. Though he had saved her life once, he knew the galaxy was vast and unpredictable, and survival was never guaranteed. The galaxy was not a safe place. Political tensions, rogue factions, and uncharted territories made exploration risky. Yet Ryland's experiences on the desert planet had changed him. He no longer feared the unknown the way he once had. Courage, ingenuity, and quick thinking had become second nature. He had learned that sometimes the smallest choices, choosing to act when others hesitate, could determine the fate of entire civilizations. It was during a routine survey of a distant system that the unexpected happened. The Orion Pathfinder received a communication unlike any he had seen before. It was encrypted in a language of melodic tones, rhythmic and complex, yet somehow familiar. His translator struggled to decode it fully. Then the words appeared on his console. "Do you remember me, human? I am the one you saved." Ryland's heart skipped a beat. The voice was unmistakable, yet years had passed since he had last seen her. Liara, the alien princess he had rescued from the collapsing crystal dome. He felt a mix of excitement, curiosity, and apprehension. This message was not just a thank you, it carried urgency and intent. He responded cautiously, confirming his identity and asking for her location. Moments later, the coordinates appeared. A star system many light years away, familiar from his previous explorations, but uncharted in human records. He didn't hesitate. Ryland adjusted the ship's course, the engines humming steadily as he set off into deep space. The journey was long, but anticipation made the hours pass quickly. He thought of Liara, wondering what had changed. Her people had been recovering from near destruction. Perhaps she had become a leader by now. Perhaps she needed his help again. And yet, something deeper pulled him toward her, a sense of duty and an unspoken connection that transcended the differences between their worlds. When he finally arrived, the view on his sensors was breathtaking. Liara's planet was unlike anything he had seen before. Towering crystal spires rose from the ground, reflecting sunlight like giant prisms. Vast cities glimmered beneath protective energy domes, showing a civilization thriving despite previous threats. Yet his readings also detected something troubling. Energy signatures from unknown ships appeared on the outskirts of the planet's orbit. Their technology was advanced, and their intentions seemed hostile. As he descended through the atmosphere, the landscape became clearer. Liara stood on a raised platform, surrounded by her people. When she saw him approaching, her expression changed from cautious curiosity to relief and determination. She moved quickly toward a smaller landing area, signaling him to follow. "You came," she said, her melodic voice now easily translated. "I did not know if you would respond." "I received your message," Rylan replied. "Are you in danger?" Liara's gaze swept across the horizon. "Yes. My people are under threat again. A faction from a distant system discovered our world and plans to conquer it. We are strong, but their fleet is immense. I need help. Humans are skilled, brave. You have shown that before. Will you help us?" Rylan considered her words carefully. His allegiance to humanity had always been clear, yet the stakes were higher than ever. Helping her meant risking human lives in a conflict beyond their borders. Ignoring her meant allowing a civilization he had once saved to fall. He took a deep breath. "I will help. We'll do this together." Her eyes widened with relief. "I knew you would. I never forgot what you did for me. I trust you, human." Over the next days, Rylan worked closely with Liara and her people. He studied the enemy fleet, analyzing weaknesses and patterns. Liara introduced him to her top advisors, strategists, and engineers, all of whom respected his knowledge and skill. Though they were different species, they shared common principles: courage, logic, and determination. Rylan marveled at their technology, crystal-based energy shields and weapons systems that responded to thought and intention. Yet despite their sophistication, they had vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities Rylan intended to exploit with strategy rather than brute force. Together they devised a plan. They could not match the enemy in raw numbers, but they could use terrain, timing, and clever maneuvers to level the playing field. Rylan coordinated simulations with Liara's fleet, teaching them new tactics derived from human warfare adapted to the alien technology. He instructed them on precision strikes, ambush tactics, and distraction maneuvers. At first, the alien commanders were skeptical, but as the simulations proved successful, they began to trust him more. During their work, Liara often visited him in the strategy room. She was curious, intelligent, and surprisingly perceptive. She asked questions about human methods, culture, and even Rylan's personal experiences. He shared stories of exploration, danger, and lessons learned. In turn, she shared tales of her people's history, their triumphs, and their near disasters. These conversations deepened their bond, not romantic, but a connection founded on trust, respect, and shared purpose. One evening, as the two of them observed star charts, Liara turned to him. "Do you remember the day you saved me?" she asked softly. Rylan smiled faintly. "How could I forget? You were trapped under that crystal dome, and the storm was closing in. I didn't know if I'd make it out alive." "You were fearless," she said. "You risked yourself for someone you barely knew. Humans, you are remarkable." Rylan felt a quiet warmth. "I did what anyone would do. I couldn't leave you behind." Liara nodded, her gaze distant for a moment. "It was more than that. You reminded my people of what courage truly means. You reminded me." The next days passed in preparation. Rylan trained with Liara's fleet, sharing human tactics adapted for their unique abilities. They practiced maneuvers, coordinated strikes, and emergency responses. His presence inspired confidence. The alien soldiers who had once doubted their chances now believed in victory because of him. Finally, the enemy fleet arrived. Massive ships filled the skies, their weapons glinting in the light of Liara's suns. Panic rippled through the cities below, but Ryland stood beside Liara, calm and focused. "Stay steady," he said. "We've planned for this. Trust in your people. Trust in yourselves." The battle began with a sudden strike from the enemy. Missiles and energy blasts tore across the skies, but Liara's fleet executed Ryland's strategies perfectly. Ambushes, diversions, and precision strikes disrupted the enemy formation. Ryland coordinated with Liara, who led the defensive maneuvers from her command platform. Together, they outsmarted the enemy at every turn. Despite the enemy's numerical advantage, the defenders' unity and tactical brilliance turned the tide. Liara's fleet, inspired by Ryland's guidance, pushed back the attackers, disabling their ships one by one. Ryland himself took charge of critical strikes, navigating the Orion Pathfinder with skill, targeting weak points in the enemy fleet. As the battle reached its climax, Liara and Ryland executed a daring plan. They lured the enemy flagship into a trap, combining human ingenuity and alien technology. A concentrated strike shattered the flagship's core, causing a chain reaction that disabled the rest of the fleet. Victory belonged to the defenders. After the battle, Liara stood among her people, her expression a mix of relief and pride. She approached Ryland, her eyes bright. "You've done it. We are safe because of you. I cannot thank you enough." Ryland shook his head. "It was your people who fought with courage. I just helped guide them. You were brave too, Liara. You led them when it mattered most." She smiled, a soft, genuine expression that lit up her face. "Perhaps. But it was your courage that reminded us all of what we could do. Humans, you are truly extraordinary." As celebrations began, Ryland felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had returned to this world to help, and together, they had saved it. More than that, he had rekindled the connection with Liara, a bond that neither time nor distance had diminished. She had remembered him, trusted him, and relied on him when it mattered most. That night, standing beneath the crystal spires, Liara and Ryland watched the twin moons rise. The city shimmered in the soft light, safe and vibrant once more. Liara spoke softly, almost to herself. "Do you remember me, human? I am the one you saved." Ryland looked at her, a quiet smile forming. "I remember, and I will never forget. You've changed me, Liara, not just today, but from the moment I first saw you. You showed me that courage and trust can cross worlds, and that even in the vastness of the galaxy, bonds like ours matter." Liara nodded, her eyes reflecting the light of the moons. "Perhaps our paths are meant to cross again. The galaxy is vast, but fate may bring us together once more." Ryland's thoughts drifted to the stars above. He knew she was right. Their journey was far from over. There were still worlds to explore, dangers to face, and challenges that would test the limits of humanity and alien civilizations alike. But for now, they had survived, triumphed, and proven that courage, ingenuity, and trust could overcome even the greatest odds. As he prepared to rest, Ryland felt a renewed sense of purpose. Liara's world had been saved, but his adventures were just beginning. The bond between them, formed in the harsh sands of a distant desert and tested in the crucible of battle, would guide them both through the challenges ahead. In the endless expanse of space, one thing was certain. Humanity's potential was limitless, and with allies like Liara, the stars themselves seemed within reach. The night passed quietly, the city resting beneath the twin moons. Ryland knew that tomorrow would bring new missions, new challenges, and perhaps new discoveries about Liara, her people, and the galaxy at large. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of peace, knowing that courage, hope, and friendship had once again triumphed. and that somewhere in the stars, bonds stronger than fear or distance had been forged. After the battle, Rylan remained on Liara's planet for several days. The city's crystal spires sparkled brighter than ever, reflecting the renewed hope and strength of its people. Though the enemy fleet had been defeated, Rylan knew that true security required preparation, not just victory. Liara insisted he stay, not as a guest, but as a valued advisor, someone who had proven that human ingenuity could match even the most advanced alien technology. The morning after the celebrations, Liara led Rylan to the city's central command tower. From there, he could see the full scale of the planet's recovery. Energy shields covered the city like a luminous bubble, and citizens moved through the streets with confidence, no longer fearing sudden attacks. Liara explained that many other factions were aware of her civilization's survival, and their curiosity could turn into threats if they were not cautious. Rylan nodded, understanding that this was a larger battle than any one fight. They needed strategy, diplomacy, and foresight. "You have done more than any of us could have imagined," Liara said as they looked out over the city. "You are not just a savior, Rylan. You are a friend to my people, a symbol of hope." Rylan smiled, though he felt a weight on his shoulders. He had come to this planet as an explorer, not a hero. But he realized that being human meant more than exploration. It meant courage, problem-solving, and helping those in need, no matter the risks. In the following weeks, Rylan worked closely with Liara and her advisors to strengthen the planet's defenses. They upgraded energy shields, created rapid response teams, and designed contingency plans for any future threats. Rylan introduced several human technologies adapted for alien systems, such as autonomous drones for scouting and emergency energy relays to maintain shield integrity during attacks. Through all of this, Liara remained by his side. She observed, asked questions, and learned quickly. Their bond grew stronger, built on mutual respect and trust. While they were different in appearance and culture, they shared the same values: courage, logic, and a desire to protect life. Rylan often marveled at her intelligence and composure under pressure. Despite her royal status, she treated everyone, human and alien, with fairness and encouragement. One evening, after a long day of planning and training, Liara and Rylan walked through the city's crystal gardens. The air shimmered with energy, and soft lights illuminated paths lined with delicate alien flora. Liara stopped beside a fountain, its waters glowing with a gentle blue light. "You know," she said, her voice soft, "I have thought about the day you saved me every year since it happened. It was not just a rescue. It was a choice, a decision that defined my life and the future of my people." Rylan looked at her, listening intently. "I only did what I had to. I couldn't leave you behind." Liara smiled, her eyes reflecting gratitude and something deeper. "You risked your life for someone you barely knew, from a species you had never met. That is the essence of bravery, Rylan. That is what makes humans remarkable." The next few days brought more challenges. Scouts reported suspicious movements near the outer regions of the planet. Though the main enemy fleet had been destroyed, smaller factions and rogue forces sought to test the planet's defenses. Rylan, Liara, and the command team organized drills, simulated attacks, and created strategies for rapid defense. With each passing exercise, the city's forces became more confident, and Rylan's influence grew. During one particularly intense simulation, a new problem emerged. A fleet of small but highly advanced ships approached the planet, capable of slipping past standard shields. Rylan quickly assessed the situation. Using a combination of human tactical maneuvers and Liara's technology, he devised a plan to neutralize the threat without causing large-scale destruction. The operation was risky, requiring precise coordination and split-second decisions. The day of the confrontation arrived. The small fleet emerged from the outer system, moving swiftly and silently. Ryland directed Liara's forces, integrating human tactics with alien capabilities. They deployed energy nets to trap the ships, used diversionary drones to confuse the enemy, and coordinated a precise strike on their power cores. The operation was flawless. Within hours, the threat was neutralized, and the city remained safe. Liara approached Rylan afterward, her expression a mixture of relief and admiration. "You have saved us again. Your presence here is more important than you realize. My people look to you not just as a guide, but as an example of what courage and ingenuity can achieve." Rylan nodded, feeling a quiet pride. "I didn't come here to lead or be an example. I came because it was the right thing to do, but I'm glad I could help." As the days passed, the bond between Liara and Rylan deepened. They shared stories of their respective worlds, exchanged ideas about exploration and technology, and learned from each other. Liara's people began to see humans not as outsiders, but as allies and friends. Rylan realized that his role on this planet had evolved. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a bridge between two civilizations, a living example of the strength and potential of humanity. One afternoon, Liara took Rylan to a secluded area of the city, away from the busy streets and bustling citizens. Here, the crystal formations glowed softly, creating a serene and peaceful environment. She turned to him, her expression serious but gentle. "Rylan, do you understand what you have done for my people?" she asked. "I think I do," he replied. "I helped save lives, yes. But it's more than that, isn't it?" "Yes," she said. "You have reminded my people that courage, intelligence, and compassion are universal. You have shown us that even across the stars, beings from different worlds can trust and help each other. That is something rare, something powerful." Rylan smiled, humbled by her words. "I didn't expect to make such a difference. I only did what anyone would do." Liara shook her head. "Few would act as you did. Most would have hesitated or ignored the danger. But you acted. And because of that, countless lives were saved, and my people now have hope for the future." As the conversation ended, the sky above them began to shift with the setting of the twin suns. Colors of gold, pink, and violet stretched across the horizon, reflecting off the crystal spires and casting long, beautiful shadows across the city. Rylan felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and impossible odds, yet he had persevered. Humanity, he realized, had the power to inspire, to protect, and to unite even the most distant and different civilizations. The following days were filled with celebrations, not of a single victory, but of survival, resilience, and unity. Rylan watched as Liara and her people worked together, rebuilding, improving, and strengthening their home. He understood now that his journey had been more than just exploration. It had been a demonstration of the human spirit, a testament to the potential of courage, intelligence, and compassion. Before leaving the planet to continue his mission among the stars, Rylan and Liara stood together one final time on the highest spire of the city. The winds swept around them, carrying the soft hum of the city below and the distant sounds of crystal energy flowing through the structures. "Rylan," Liara said softly, "you are more than a hero to me. You are a symbol of what is possible when beings act with courage and purpose. I will never forget you, and my people will always remember the human who saved their world." Rylan placed a hand on the railing, looking at the city that had become a second home to him in spirit. "And I will never forget you, Liara. You have shown me that bravery, hope, and trust can change the course of entire civilizations. Humanity is capable of incredible things, and I will carry that lesson with me wherever I go. As he prepared to depart in the Orion Pathfinder, Liara stepped aside, allowing him to board. They exchanged a final nod, a silent promise that their bond, forged through courage and trust, would endure. The engines of the ship roared to life, lifting him into the sky as the twin suns dipped below the horizon. From above, Rylan looked down at the city, now calm and vibrant, a testament to resilience and the strength of two worlds working together. He knew that his journey was far from over, that countless stars awaited exploration, and countless civilizations awaited help and guidance. But the lesson of Liara's world remained with him. Humanity's courage and ingenuity could inspire, protect, and unite. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one a reminder of new adventures, challenges, and possibilities. And somewhere below, an alien princess had chosen to remember the human who saved her, forging a connection that would echo across the galaxy. Rylan's heart swelled with quiet pride and purpose. He was a human, yes, but more than that. He was a witness to what humanity could achieve, a living proof that bravery, intelligence, and compassion could shine across the stars, leaving a mark that no enemy, no distance, and no time could erase. The galaxy awaited, full of mysteries and dangers, but Rylan felt ready. With courage as his guide and hope as his companion, he would continue his journey, inspired by Liara, her people, and the enduring bond they had forged. And in the vast, endless reaches of space, he knew this was only the beginning.